Imagine this. Two fathers, two very different beliefs about money. And one little boy caught in the middle. One dad believed in getting good grades, finding a secure job, and working hard for a pension. The other dad believed in learning how money works, creating assets, and never working for money again. This clash of ideas shaped Robert Kiyosaki's life and later became the foundation of his best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Today we're diving into the first two chapters of this financial classic, and pulling out the powerful lessons that can help you escape the rat race and start thinking like the rich. Stay with me, because these lessons might just change the way you see money forever. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the best finance and business books into simple, actionable ideas. If you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss the strategies that can help you grow wealth and freedom. Today, we'll cover why traditional education often fails to prepare us for real life, the core differences between a rich mindset and a poor mindset, and the first big lesson from Rich Dad: the rich don't work for money. Alright, let's get into it. Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two strong father figures. His biological father, Poor Dad, was a well-educated man with degrees from prestigious universities and a secure government job. He believed in education, job security, and playing it safe financially. Then there was his best friend's father, Rich Dad. This man never finished 8th grade, but he understood money, business, and investing. Over time, he became one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Both dads gave Robert advice, but here's the catch. Their advice completely contradicted each other. Poor Dad would say things like, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Rich Dad countered with, "The lack of money is the root of all evil." Poor Dad believed in working for money. Rich Dad believed in making money work for him, and as Robert grew up, he had to decide, whose advice would he follow? This contrast forced him to think critically at a young age. Instead of blindly following one path, he compared both, and eventually leaned toward Rich Dad's way of thinking. Key takeaway: most of us learn about money from our parents. But if our parents don't know how money works, we inherit their struggles. Financial education is rarely taught in schools, so unless we seek it out ourselves, we risk repeating the same mistakes.
What kind of advice did you grow up hearing about money? Did it sound more like Rich Dad or Poor Dad? Let me know in the comments.
The first major lesson Robert learned from Rich Dad came when he was just 9 years old. It all started with an embarrassing moment. Robert and his friend Mike weren't invited to play with the rich kids because, as they were told, they were just the poor kids.
Stung by this, Robert asked his dad how to get rich. His educated dad, Poor Dad, didn't really know. He simply said, "Use your head, son."
So Robert turned to Mike's father, Rich Dad, and asked if he would teach them. But Rich Dad didn't sit them down for a classroom lecture. Instead, he gave them a job at one of his small stores. The pay? Just 10 cents an hour. At first, Robert and Mike hated it. The work was boring, the pay was terrible, and after a few weeks, Robert was ready to quit. That's when Rich Dad explained the real lesson. He said, "Most people let life push them around. They either give up, or they blame their boss, their job, or the economy. Others work hard for money, but they never learn how money actually works. They're trapped by fear and desire. Fear of not having enough, and desire for all the things money can buy." Rich Dad wanted the boys to see what most adults never see: the trap of the rat race. Work, earn, spend, repeat.
The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them.
Think about that for a second. Most people chase paychecks. They look for raises, they switch jobs for slightly better pay, but in the end, their lives are still controlled by money. The rich flip that equation. Instead of working for money, they build assets, investments, businesses, systems that generate income for them, even while they sleep. One powerful exercise Rich Dad gave Robert was this: work for free, no paycheck. Why? Because when you're not distracted by wages, you're forced to use your imagination, to spot opportunities, and to think like an entrepreneur. And it worked. Robert and Mike soon started their own little business, a comic book library where kids paid 10 cents to read as many comics as they wanted. That business made more money than their store jobs, and it kept making money even when they weren't there. That was their first taste of having money work for them. Key takeaway: if you want to escape the rat race, stop thinking only about earning more from a job. Start thinking about creating or acquiring assets that make money for you.
If you stopped working today, how long could you sustain your lifestyle? That's a tough but important question. And it reveals whether you're working for money, or if money is working for you.
Now you might be thinking, That's a nice story, but does it really apply today? Absolutely, maybe more than ever. Jobs are less secure than they used to be. Downsizing, automation, and outsourcing can wipe out entire careers overnight. Inflation eats away at paychecks. Even if you get a raise, your expenses often rise just as fast. And traditional pensions? Practically extinct. The truth is, if you rely only on a paycheck, you're vulnerable. But if you build assets, whether that's investments, businesses, or intellectual property, you create streams of income that don't depend on clocking in every day. Rich Dad's first lesson wasn't just about money, it was about mindset. Stop saying, "I can't afford it." Start asking, "How can I afford it?" Stop seeing yourself as an employee trapped by fear and start seeing yourself as someone who can create opportunities. So to recap, Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two fathers, one who worked for money and one who made money work for him. The first big lesson from Rich Dad is this: don't work for money. Learn how money works and put it to work for you. Fear and desire keep most people trapped in the rat race, but if you train your mind, you can escape it. In the next chapters, Robert dives deeper into the skills of financial literacy, understanding assets and liabilities, and why your house may not be the asset you think it is. That's coming up in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed. Now I want to hear from you. If you had to choose today, would you rather work for money or have money work for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found value in this breakdown, give the video a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one.